Hello my friends, Miss Art Garden here, and today we are doing a tutorial on just drawing the legs. This was suggested by XX Shadow Slayer XX. So thanks for the suggestion. Let's jump right into it. So the very basics of legs is pretty easy to break down. You have your hip joints and your two thighs, your knee joints, and then your two calves. And then, you would have your feet. And if you were to flesh these out, the shape for the thighs and the calves are sort of these tapered rectangles in a way, the top part being a little bit thicker than the part right before the knee joint. Down here, the bottom part would be a little bit more curved, and it would go like that. A few things to know. The front of the bottom leg area is much flatter. So if you were to draw it from a side view, you would probably see that the calf muscle comes out. This is the meaty part of your leg, so it would come out like that. So when you're thinking about drawing it from different angles, you see how I have both of them sticking out here, but we could break it down. Maybe this would be more of the front of the leg, so it would actually be more flat, and the meat of the leg would be seen a little bit more behind. So now automatically that gives your leg a little bit more angle. In general, the thigh is more or less pretty universal, but the bottom leg tends to have a bit of differences here. So if we were to fill out these legs the way that I drew them for the skeletal shape, we'd do the same thing where you would have them taper. You'd have them thicker here at the upper area, and then you would have your shapes down here, and you would want the flat ones on each side here, like the calves were coming in, and then you would just have your basic shape. And that's the easy breakdown of how to draw legs, but of course it depends somewhat how they're positioned. So let's go through a couple examples. We'll do one a little bit more proper than that one where we have the front facing angle. So typically what I do to help me with the legs is to draw sort of an underwear shape, or at least think of a Barbie chassis area that kind of establishes the front or the angle of the person. So I just think about, like, what would the underwear part look like? Let's have one thigh coming out like this, and I'm giving it a little bit of a rounded look to help it out. If you're drawing a male, the upper part would be less rounded than the female, or at least the masculine versus feminine body types. Females tend to have a lot more fat or weight in their hips and thighs. Okay, so we have these two for the top. Let's have one knee here, and we might have a leg going behind the other one. So if that's the case, this knee joint will just be a little bit lower than the other one, just barely. And then we'll have this one go straight out, and the foot would be, somewhere like that. And then this one will have tuck in a bit, and the foot might be down like that. Okay, so we have the basic shapes just from drawing those skeletal parts. Let's just fill them in. So as I talked about earlier, this part up here has a little bit more thickness than where it meets up for the knee. And then once you get down to this part, actually it's going to go behind this leg, so I'm not going to commit to this line first. And then this leg would come out like this, and it would taper into where the ankle joint is, and then the foot would be somewhere like that. So the same thing here. Generally, we'll keep the same thickness on each leg for consistency, and I'm gonna have the front more on this side so that the leg is just slightly twisted. It'll come out here. So when we're drawing this down, we'll have it come out just a little bit and then taper pretty straight down on this side. But on this side, we'll have it come out a little bit and then come in like that. So that gives it, I know the knee joint, I'm going to erase this before it gets confusing. The knee joint is more like here now. So that just gives the leg a little bit of a twist here. And then we want to commit to this leg. I'm going to shrink up this foot a little bit. This foot would be more prominent. I know it's just the leg tutorial, but I just wanted to fix that real quick. And then we'd have this just come in and meet behind this leg. So that is our first, hopefully easy drawing. I'm going to erase that too. This one's knee joint would probably be coming down a little bit. You might have, when you're coloring it, some foreshortening shadows distinguish that it's in the back. So yeah, pretty straightforward on how to draw legs for the front angle. Let's do some from the side. Now, drawing legs from the side is very difficult if you draw them completely parallel to each other, I guess. If you were to have some leg here, I would suggest just tweaking the angle a little bit, maybe in front, or you could put it behind the other. Another trick you can do is stagnate the legs. Stagnate? Is that the word? stagger the legs maybe. You could make so one leg is at a different angle than the other. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start with the underwear. We'll have the leg hole or the thigh hole or whatever right there. So yeah, we can just put it in just like that. This does not have to look like actual underwear. This can just be kind of a general guide for it. Technically, I'm going to have the hips very foreshortened, but this one will be here. I guess we'll draw this down here like this. We'll just kind of change that line too. Let's draw in the upper thigh bone. So I'm going to have this leg at a bit of an angle down like this, and then this one will be a little more straight, and it will have the knee joint here. It'll come down here. That's the front, so it has a little bit more of a flatness. The angle of the calf meaty muscle will be back there, so we can see both legs a little bit better. I'm gonna put this out like this. I'm gonna erase this a little bit so we can see what we're doing here a little bit better. So this legs muscle, this is the butt. And if this was a female, it would have a little bit more of a rounder butt. The male might have a little bit flatter. We'll just kind of do this generic shape here. It tapers in. It's thickest here, tapers into the knee, typically behind the knee. Let's erase this a little bit. There's a dip in there, a little bit of a curve. The knee bone itself would stick out just a little touch. You don't have to get this right on your first sketching go around, but we'll just kind of put that in. And then this will go down, and then this calfy muscle will come out like this and then meet up at the ankle joint. You could have some kind of foot that's sticking up here. We'll just kind of place it in like that. And let's erase this now so we don't get confused, and we could come in a little bit later and fix this up a little bit nicer. Maybe add like a little line to designate that's the knee. Okay, so for this one it would go down, but it's going to be hidden pretty much at the top part here. So starting from this circle, the back of the knee joint will have a little dip here, and then the calfy meaty muscle will come out, and then the straight part. Let's do this in a different color. So we have this part here, and if this is, I know this is behind it, so hopefully it's not confusing, but this would be here, and then the butt would be there. So that's the back leg. So the front of the knee would be here, and then the part of the leg would go down like that. We'll switch to blue to finish this off, taper at the ankle, and we'd have just a foot here like that. So that's more of like how you would expect to approach it from the side view. I hope that can read. Something like that. So let's do one that's a little bit of a side view, but not a total side view. So what I mean by that is you'll have the underwear crotch area would be here. And most of this part would be just sort of cut off. Yeah, so we'll have the underwear shape here like this. Let's draw just a leg, just normal, straight, standing there, boring legs. So we'll have one go down here. This one would be here. It's going to be very cut off, so it might go down like that. This leg would go straight, and this leg would go like that. And then the feet joint would be something like this, and maybe that one would go out at that angle. And then all we would have to do is come in, starting with this leg because it's in the front. We'll go ahead and move it down to this knee area, give it that tapered look that we like to do, and give it a little bit of a dip back there, and the meaty the meaty calf muscle would be there, and it would be pretty much straight in front, minus maybe a little bump for the knee. And then back here, we would have mostly cut off. We'd have a little bit of the knee here, and then it would go straight down. Typically, I think it's better that the feet don't line up. That's why I would suggest giving an angle here. Maybe I'll do just the feet tutorial in the future. But that is the third kind of standing up straight one. Okay, so we've got standing, and it's pretty straightforward. But what about, I'm just cramming these in so we have a little more room to draw. But what about legs that are sitting? Because that's a little bit more of a challenge. There's more foreshortening to think about. Okay, so let's do one where they're cross-legged on the floor. We'll do the same kind of thing where we establish the underwear. So this would be the line here. The butt would go down here, and then the thigh would actually be over on this side, very foreshortened. Let's draw the skeletal lines in. But we got to remember that thigh over here. So it's basically just this shape. You won't see much of it. The knee joint might come out and just be right here. So that's the top of the thigh guideline. And then this one would come down, and right in front, this would be the ankle, and then right in front of the butt area would be the foot. And on this side, it would come down like this and then cross, and that would be the foot. So this would be the ankle, and that would be the foot. And I think these should probably line up a little bit better. So maybe I'll change this one to come up just a slight bit like this. So let's flesh this out a little bit. So if this this is the top of the knee joint. It would be coming up like this, and then this is the kneecap area, and then it would come down, and this would be the thigh coming right here, and it would hide the butt. Let's erase this butt line. And then, so this is the knee joint, so that would mean the calf is right underneath it. So let's draw that calf line out and then down like this, meeting up at the ankle. And I'm going to erase all this stuff, and maybe I drew that in a little too much, and maybe the knee would come up like that a little bit. In general, that's the knee shape. So let's do this leg here. This is the thigh line where it hits. I'm going to erase this so you can see that's the thigh line where it hits. It goes up. This thigh is behind the calf, just like the other one. So the calf line would start here. It would go down like this, meet up at the ankle, but I'm going to draw it behind this leg a little bit. And we can pretty much keep this line. I'm just going to even this out a little bit. Knee would come down, and then the leg would go like that. And we could have our feet here. Maybe we could straighten these lines, clean them up a little bit so they're not so sketchy. But in general, that is someone sitting down. And if I was doing little tweaks, I might actually put it down a little bit like this and shrink it in a little bit like this. I'm going to put a little bit of a torso in so this can read a little bit better. Okay, so for the last one, let's do someone sitting in a chair and crossing their legs. So we have the same deal here where we have the underwear. It'll be something like this. And we'll have one leg in the back and one leg in the front. So this might be the hip joint here, and the other one would be like over here. This one here on this side would go up like so, and then that would be the knee joint, and then it would come down like so. This one here might be going out like so, and that would be the knee joint here, and it would go down like this. So this one is the back leg. So the meaty thigh area would come down and meet with the butt. And then let's erase this so it can read a little bit better. And then we have it go a little bit rounded up here too. It would meet at the knee joint. That would come out just a bit. And then this would be the straight line here. And I'm going to put off on drawing the calf until we've drawn this back one, which is a little bit peeking out. So this one would come out like this, go down, and this would be the flat area of the leg again. Just a little bit of the thigh might show behind here. The calf would come out here and come down and meet at the ankle. Coming from behind here, you can imagine if we switch to red here, that the line would start here and then it would come down like that, meet here. And you could have your foot here like this or something. Maybe it wouldn't stick quite like that, maybe like that. And then this foot might be flat on the ground or something. And that's the leg sitting pose. So that basically covers hopefully some general idea of how to go about conquering drawing legs. I would suggest getting references if you're a bit confused in the beginning. But for today, that's going to be it. I'm going to fix this leg real quick. This foot. So thank you for joining me. If you guys have any suggestions or questions for tutorials in the future, let me know in the comment section below. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.